नमस्कार, सुसंध्या सभी को। मैं कुणाल अग्रवाल, डिब्रूगढ़ यूनिवर्सिटी छात्र, आज इस वेबिनार का मेजबानी कर रहा हूं और आप सभी को ये बताते हुए गौरवान्वित महसूस कर रहा हूं कि आज हमारे साथ रणधीर जैन सर, एडवोकेट, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ इंडिया जुड़े हुए हैं। रणधीर सर किसी पहचान के मोहताज तो नहीं, इन्होंने 50 साल एडवोकेसी की दुनिया में अपना चमक छोड़ा। राम जन्मभूमि केस में इन्होंने एज अ काउंसिल भूमिका निभाई। हैंडकफिंग केस में इन्होंने सुप्रीम कोर्ट को असिस्ट किया। पॉलिटिकल जगत में, लीगल फील्ड में इनका बहुत बड़ा कद है, बहुत बड़ा नाम है। आज मैं रणधीर सर का इस वेबिनार में स्वागत करता हूं। साथ ही साथ इस कॉल में, इस वेबिनार में जितने भी लोग जुड़े हुए हैं उनका भी स्वागत करता हूं। आज रणधीर सर खुद हमें यूसीसी, यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड, जो कि बहुत चर्चित है, इसके बारे में समझाने वाला। ये सेशन 2 भाग में बांटा गया है। आज सर हमें यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड के हिस्ट्री एंड पॉलिटिकल बैकग्राउंड के बारे में बताएंगे और इसके बाद वाले सेशन में सर हमें एक ड्राफ्टिंग बिल यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड, जो कि बहुत पहले आ चुका है, परंतु आज तक किसी ने ये नहीं सोचा कि एक ड्राफ्टिंग बिल बनाया जाए। सर ये पहले व्यक्ति है जो ये ड्राफ्टिंग बिल बना रहे हैं और सर हमें ड्राफ्टिंग बिल प्रोवाइड भी करेंगे और उसके ऊपर भी हम चर्चा करने वाले हैं। तो रणधीर सर के साथ आज हम सुनते हैं क्या है यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड। सर, ओवर टू यू।
नमस्कार दोस्तों, मैं रणधीर जैन, एक अधना सा वकील और अपने मन में बुद्धिजीवी होने की गलतफहमी पाला हुआ व्यक्ति, आपसे कुछ 2-4 बातें करने के लिए आपके सामने प्रस्तुत हुआ हूं। फ्रेंड्स, our constitution was started being drafted even prior to the India attaining independence on 15th of August 1947. In fact, the Constituent Assembly came to be constituted on 6th of December 1946. It had 389 members, all stalwarts of that time, all revered personalities in their own right. And it was scheduled that the first sitting of the Constituent Assembly would take place on 9th of December 1946, but that was not to happen. The reason was that Muslim League boycotted the Constituent Assembly, and few gentlemen who were members of the Constituent Assembly, they put forward a suggestion that till the time the members of Muslim League join in the proceedings of Constituent Assembly, they should not be held, they should be postponed. In any case, on 9th of December 1946, the Constituent Assembly did meet, and looking to this proposal, two of the worthies, namely Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, put a strong view before the honorable members of the Constituent Assembly that it could not be the convention to wait for anybody. When the Constituent Assembly has been constituted, we are here, let us start our business. And the business of Constituent Assembly started. Thereafter, the Constituent Assembly between 9th of December 1946 and 26th of November 1949, because that is the day when the Constitution was adopted and they was presented to the citizens of this country. In between, there were 114 sittings of the Constituent Assembly spread over a period of 2 years, 11 months and 18 days. And the resultant document was a lengthy constitution comprising of 394 articles. In spite of this Herculean exercise and a lengthy document, certain shortcomings, lacunas, or whatever one may call it, were still there. I would like to draw the attention of you gentlemen to Article 25 of the Constitution, because this is the article which shows an unmitigated bias against the Hindu community. In fact, only 6 articles in our Constitution, namely Article 25 to Article 30, they talk about religion, because the heading of this subchapter is right to freedom of religion. How much religion is discussed in these articles is a matter of discussion. Today, I won't try to spend much of time on that. We can have an independent discussion on that. But one thing I must point out, that in all these articles, there is no mention of any minority. There is no mention of minority rights. In fact, our Constitution does not talk of minority. Whatever has been done by the state, by the various governments, is dehorse the Constitution. And if I may say, it is an exercise over and above the provisions of the Constitution. There are certain gentlemen who have approached the Honorable Supreme Court with a prayer that the government should be asked to define a minority. I, for one, don't stand to agree with them for the simple reason that if something is not there, why do we bring in life into it by imposing our own notions of definition and all that? In any case, the fact remains that the Minorities Commission came to be established in the regime of Morarji Desai in the year 1978, when there was no legislation, no statute, no act talking of any minority rights. Of course, the Act of Minority Commissions Act came into existence in the year 1992. That also, in my respective submission, does not conform to the provisions of the Constitution and is the stillborn child, invalid and unconstitutional ultra vires ab initio. Subsequent to this act, an act was passed by certain Vidhan Sabhas about the Minority Commission Act. The act which was passed in Delhi by Delhi Vidhan Sabha, namely Delhi Minorities Commission Act, has been challenged. Few responsible citizens of Delhi before Honorable High Court of Delhi, and the Honorable High Court is seized of the matter. Later, a day later or sooner, it is going to be heard by the Honorable Court. Even Supreme Court is seized of the matter on the question of minority, though, as I mentioned just now, in a different context, but that also will take care of this situation. So, we have gone like this. Now, if I may invite your kind attention to Article 26 of the Constitution, according to me, there was no justification, no need of Article 25 and 26 being there in the Constitution. As far as Article 25 is concerned, it is just loaded and biased against Hindu community, because it says, if I read only a part of it which is relevant for our discussion, it is that the freedom of conscience and free profession, practice and propagation of religion. Now, it says subject to public order, morality and health, and to other provisions of this part. Now, these are the conditions which any legislation will or any state action will have to satisfy. Then they say, nothing in this article shall affect operation of any existing law or prevent the state from making any law. I am skipping clause A of this article and coming straight to clause B, which says providing for social welfare and reform or throwing open of Hindu religious institutions of a public character to all classes or sections of Hindus. What is this? Only Hindu is pointed out, is picked up for this beating or for this regulation, for this everything what is going on in the name of controlling the religion. First of all, what business the state has to control the religion? After all, religion is something between me and my creator. The state does not come into it, but and in any case, if you have to do it, at least you have to have it for all the communities. But no, those gentlemen, 389 gentlemen sitting in the Constituent Assembly under the stewardship of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, I won't comment on any of the personalities, but in their own wisdom, while drafting it, probably they looked this very important aspect of the matter. In any case, it is there. I'm waiting for the day when this will be struck down, this will be removed from the statute book by the state or by the court. Now, friends, if I may take you, our constitution had certain very peculiar things. If I may point out, say, community called Anglo-Indian community having no existence in this country, a provision was made in Article 331 of the Constitution to authorize the President of India to nominate 2 members to Lok Sabha from amongst this community. One could understand because we already had incorporated reservation of seats for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. Though, in my personal view, for reasons which I can explain before you, time permitting, at some subsequent dialogue, they could have, but no legitimacy, not elected. The president nominates and they become members of Lok Sabha. Equally, in certain state legislatures, the governor nominates and they become MLAs. And this provision, initially incorporated for 10 years, continued year after term of each parliament and Vidhan Sabha by putting in amendment to this constitution. And the last amendment, it lapsed with 26th of January last year. I am happy to inform you that about 25 of Supreme Court advocates submitted a representation to the government of the present government that a provision for reservation of seats for scheduled caste, scheduled tribe may be extended. After all, they are our brethren, our own flesh and blood. But what business for this Anglo-Indian? It should not be extended. It should be done away with. It should let it die its own death. I won't say that it is done because of at our instance, but in any case, good sense prevailed upon the present government, and this provision was not extended. This came to an end with the last Republic Day. Now, friends, coming to the question of Universal Civil Code in Article 44, I, for one, would have never been able to appreciate the reason or get the rationale behind putting certain things in the sphere of directive principles of state policy. After all, what it is? If you want, if you feel, if the national consensus is that something ought to be done or something ought to be prohibited, do it straight away. I am convinced that this should be done, but I won't do it. I am putting it for a future day to come. What is that? I mean, it defies all the logic. Now, friends, the most peculiar aspect of the matter is that on the one hand, the Constituent Assembly was legislating on about Article 44 concerning Universal Civil Code to be incorporated in Constitution. That incorporation came on uh, on 23rd of November 1948. And mind you, that was the time when a bill has been put in the name of Hindu Code Bill. Hindu law was thought to be codified. A demand was raised by certain honorable members of Constituent Assembly that why have Hindu Code Bill only? Why not have Universal Civil Code? More so when we have put it in our guiding principles in Article 44. But peculiarly enough, something of which our leaders were conscious, something which was there. On the one hand, you are legislating a code of for Hindus, but at the same time, you don't want to make it applicable to all the communities and leave it by putting it in the shape of Article 44. Thereafter, this bill of there was a great hurry was shown to incorporate the and legislate the bill for Hindu code, the Hindu Code Bill. It was introduced sometime in 11th of April 1947 and was deferred, went to select committee and all that, and then came again before the provisional parliament. I must express my view here that we had a Constituent Assembly which finished its function on 26th of November 1949. And it became functions official. It had no legal state. Thereafter, the elections to parliament were held between January 1951 to February 1952. And the first sitting of parliament took place on 13th of May 1952. So between 26th of November 1949 and 13th of February 1950, 52, there was no parliament, and nothing could be legislated. But peculiar things do happen, and we probably have our own larger share of peculiarities. When this Hindu code was sought to be introduced in the year 1950, rather 51, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, who was chairman of Constituent Assembly, he put his foot down. He said, we don't have a parliament. This is a serious thing. This is a legislation of far-reaching consequence, which cannot be enacted by the provisional parliament. And by experience and by the very concept, a provisional entity is there to look after the very important day-to-day business and not to take any policy decision or do something drastic. So on that, this was set aside. This was not allowed. Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, on 22nd of September 1951, suggested that part 2nd of Hindu Code Bill regarding marriage and divorce be put to motion and be adopted. Even that request was turned down, and it was not incorporated. Now the question came that having met this fate, then we come 1952, parliamentary elections are held. In 1954, a fresh effort is made because the earlier bill which was there, it lapsed. Apart from everything else, it left because the term of the House came to an end without passing the bill. Now in 1954, it was once again put there, and this time it was bifurcated into 4 legislations, and they were passed. Pausing here, the question arises that all through, there's debate about Hindu Code Bill, Hindu reform for the law for Hindus, everything started sometime in 1940. And we came up to all this, we came up to 1954. 14 years was not time enough to make it a universal civil code or make it applicable to everybody, and to incorporate provisions which would serve for everybody. Now, in any case, this is, if I pausing here, if I may say, that from the very beginning, as far as universal civil code is concerned, nobody, according to my little information, whatever I have, I would like to be corrected and contradicted if somebody finds something to the contrary. We no universal civil code bill has been drafted. There is none in existence. Even today, it is not. Now, what happens? This all through it has been a plan of the rightist forces. Leading amongst them were Janasangh and RSS, Hindu Mahasabha, Ram Rajya Parishad, and all others being there. Their emphasis on this was that this is divine law. You can't touch it. you can't amend it. Nobody ever talked of any practical approach or anything whatever. As far as I am concerned, my view is that as far as Hindu Marriage Act is concerned, it has failed to serve the purpose, interest, and life of Hindu community. As far as other three legislations are concerned, they were already there. By merely putting a word Hindu before them, they have rested. Now, for any the history, historical facts are there, we can't be challenged or altered, that while placing Article 44 in the Constitution, no effort, no seriousness, no honesty was shown by passing a universal civil code, which ought to have been there when we were putting this Article 44 in the Constitution. Thereafter, for years and years and years, nothing happened. And we come to, of course, as a rhetoric, the Jan Sangh Party and RSS, they kept talking of universal civil code without telling us what is the content of this universal civil code. Something like that legendary Satyanarayan Katha. The one who heard that Katha benefited in this manner. One who defied it had to bear this penalty. But what is the Katha? Nobody knows. Till today, we haven't seen. After all, it's going to be a legislation. A bill will be introduced. It will be passed by the parliament in whatever form, in the original form or amended or whatever. It will receive the assent of president and become an act. But to start with, the basic thing is the draft. Where is that bill? Where is that draft? Nothing. Something very peculiar happened. In 1998, Bharatiya Janata Party had to form a government, a coalition government, under the leadership of Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Certain parties came together and an NDA was formed. And there, the first condition made was that controversial issues of Ram Janmabhoomi, Universal Civil Code, and Article 370 of the Constitution will not be touched. Something which was a matter of policy, matter of ideology and whatnot, suddenly became a controversial thing. Anyway, politicians have their own ways. I am nobody to comment on their conduct, and I would even I would refrain from doing that, because my study is only that of a student, and I want to confine myself there. Come 2014, when a parliamentary election is fought, once again it is projected that universal civil code is the agenda of BJP. We are going to bring it. 2014 term of the parliament comes to an end in 2019. Nothing happens. No talk of any UCC, another election in 2019. Once again, assurance of UCC, but nothing done. Now suddenly, when elections are on horizon, probably the BJP people have become wiser, that they have started talking of UCC. And even today, without any bill, anything, the sort of air which they want to create for their sympathizers, their core group, is that what is there already in Hindu law for Hindus will be with a slight modification here and there, put as a common civil code, and Muslim will have to go by that. In any case, a Muslim would lose the right of having 4 wives at one time. Halala will go, and on the other hand, the present Muslim leadership, they, I don't know how to put it, they also feel that, oh, there is an attack on our community, we should unite and we should face this BJP group. They will do whatever they have to. Whatever is the outcome is their fate. I leave it at that. Now the question is this, that when we talk of civil code, we are not talking of any religion. Religion is something which in our system of secularism or in any civilized state of today, religion is something which is beyond the reach of the state. They can't do it. Now what remains for the common civil code or universal civil code, or what is to be legislative? A civil code, according to me, is meant for a healthy relationship amongst its congenial atmosphere in the society and a healthy atmosphere in the for everybody, for every Indian citizen. It doesn't touch religion at all. It doesn't, those Hindu leaders who said our law is divine, you touch me not. At least that is gone. I won't say that I am repeating the same words for Muslim leadership, but at the same time, my request with folded hands is that please don't mix religion with the day-to-day life, with bread and butter, with the family life, with the relations between spouses and their progeny. Let them have a healthy atmosphere, healthy life, and practice their religion. After all, who stops anybody from practicing his religion? It has been put in our Article 25 of the Constitution, which according to me was not required. By the way, if I may mention, we are in the habit of creating anomaly after anomaly. An anomalous situation is that a person, for one aspect, is a minority. For the another aspect, he is not. I take the case of my own community. I am a Jain. When it comes to my worship, my going to my temple, offering whatever worship to my God, observing certain fasts or whatever is perceived to be a part of religion for me, I am a Hindu. Because the definition of Hindu is that inclusive definition of Hindu says it includes Sikh, Jain, Buddhist, and everybody. So I am a Hindu when I am going to my temple. Thereafter I go to my school. The moment I enter my school, I have to, my attention is attracted by Article 30, Clause 1, Subclause A of the Constitution, which I would read for your benefit. It says, all minorities, whether based on religion or language, shall have the right to establish and administer education institution of their choice. Now, since I am included in the notification of the minority, my institution is covered by under Article 30. I become a religious minority. Insofar as when I am going to temple, I am Hindu. The moment I come out of the temple and enter my school, I am no more Hindu. I am a minority. This is a very peculiar thing. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we talk of these things sometime in future, and if we can make some suggestion, however mild or it might be considered to be by the community. Now, friends, if I may say that leaving the religious part of it, leaving the faith part of it, leaving the part which necessitates and dictates and controls my observance of my religion, to that extent, state would have no business to enter into it. But I, for one, would feel that in matters of marital relationship, namely solemnization or contracting of marriage, it should be something dictated by the present day, because there was a time when child marriage was practiced in our country. Now, gradually, we have come out of it. And there is no difference between physique, mental brought up, and all the aspects of a Hindu boy and a Hindu girl, a Muslim boy and a Muslim girl, a Parsi boy and a Parsi girl, like this. Because it's not a religion. Religion, they have, they go to their religious place, observe whatever is prescribed or prohibited according to their religious tenets. But when it comes to this relationship, I find it to be perfectly secular, where religion has no place. Making it universal, making it equal for all, for every Indian, irrespective of his caste, there is nothing hard, rather it should be welcome. I really wait for the day when our religious leaders of the religious communities would themselves come forward and approve of it and put forward. Similarly, the question is of provision of dissolution of marriage. I here feel that the marital tie should not be broken except by a decree of court. Whatever rights, obligations, situations, facts are there, let them be placed before the court and court pronounce it. The treatment which is met to a Hindu wife by a Hindu husband, if not better, at least the same treatment a Muslim wife would expect from her husband. So then the question of adoption comes. Adoption is not only having a child. Having a child has so many facets, so many aspects of it. Love and affection, their care, the smoothness in family life, and all that. Similarly, the question of maintenance to a lady, there's nothing religious about it. It's a need-based issue. And similarly, our property. And pausing here, I would like to say that everything is not good for Hindus. If we calmly sit down to study the various legislations which govern the life of a Hindu, there remains much to be said. First of all, let somebody, and it would be my endeavor, as it was said in the very beginning, that I am making my humble effort to draft a draft a proposed legislation, which I'll put before you and other fellow citizens, if anybody would like to uh, go through and comment on it or make any suggestion. It is something like of a consensus. When we talk of universal civil code, we are not talking of any religious practices. We are not talking of any arti, puja, prakshal, or namaz, or anything. That is your religious part of your life. You be happy with it. Rather, state, I would say, go to the extent of saying state cannot be given any business to interfere with that. When we talk of universal civil code, my reading of it is adopting certain workable principles, workable consensus on which we can better organize our lives. After all, the aspiration, physical and emotional needs, everybody has the same. It doesn't change by community, from community to community. Or religion does not dictate any such thing. Pausing here, I'd like to say a word of caution and caveat also. When we go to court, we are largely scared of the system. Almost all legislation concerning family life, they mandate that the case should be decided within 6 months. But we find cases of vintage of 10, even 20 years on the file of our courts. I'm not raising my finger against anybody, because we have 5 fingers. They have to be raised against each one. But I request with folded hands to all concerned, judiciary, legal fraternity, politician included, please save the community. After all, from even if injustice is done or justice is denied to a member of society, it reflects and we lose something. Let us not continue losing. Let us try and gain whatever we can. There are so many aspects of it. I think probably my time limit set for me today is coming to an end. So whatever I perceived during talking to you. I have tried to make a mental note of it, and I would request, if you are kind enough, we'll meet again. We'll continue, discuss these things and find out how we can make our life better. After all, when we talk of India, it's each Indian's life. It's your life. It's my life. It's the life of all everybody around me. Forget कौन गोरा है, कौन काला है, कौन किस तरह से रोटी बना के खाता है या किस तरह से नहीं खाता है. लेकिन आखिर तो सच्चाई यही है कि हम सब रोटी ही खाते हैं, हम सब समाज में ही रहते हैं, एक दूसरे से इंटरेक्शन करते हैं और ज्यादा से ज्यादा करना चाहिए, ना कि हम एक दूसरे को अपना विरोधी या क्या कहेंगे कि वो एंटागनिस्ट समझने लगे. और मैं तो हाथ जोड़कर प्रार्थना करूंगा जो हमारी वर्तमान सरकार है उनके लिए भी. मैं तो एक छोटा सा व्यक्ति हूँ, अधूरा सा वकील हूँ. आप सरकार हैं, आपके पास साधन है, लॉ कमीशन है और सब हैं. ये जो आपने अभी शुरू किया है कि वोट दीजिए मेरे को, कॉमन सिविल यूनिवर्सल सिविल कोड चाहिए, या इस मेंटेलिटी से निकल. लॉ कमीशन का काम किसी को वोट इकट्ठे करके ये इसके खिलाफ. लॉ कमीशन का काम सजेशन देना है, कानून के हिसाब से सजेशन देना है. लॉ कमीशन को उसका काम करने दीजिए, लॉ कमीशन से रिक्वेस्ट करिए, उनके पास साधन मुहैया कराइए कि वो जल्दी से जल्दी ये ला करके रख सकें. मे बी ये जो इलेक्शन अभी आ रहा है तब तक जो भी हो या ना हो, लेकिन इस समाज को रहना है, मुझे रहना है, आपको रहना है. कौन प्रधानमंत्री होगा, कौन नहीं होगा, किस पार्टी का झंडा के नीचे सरकार बनेगी, वो उनकी बातें हैं, नेताओं की बातें, उनको लिए हम छोड़ दें. लेकिन एक नागरिक के नाते, एक शहरी के नाते, जिम्मेदार व्यक्ति के नाते इस बात की तरफ अपना समय लगाएं और सोचें. इतना ही मेरा आपसे निवेदन.
धन्यवाद रणधीर सर, आपने बहुत ही अच्छा तरह से हमें पूरा यूसीसी के बारे में समझाया. यूं तो ये टॉपिक चर्चित में है, कोई इसके पक्ष में बोलता है, कोई विपक्ष में बोलता है, परंतु आज आपने पक्ष विपक्ष से ऊपर उठकर साफ साफ तरीके से यूसीसी यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड के बारे में हमें समझाया. इसके लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. अभी मैं कुछ प्रश्न लेना चाहूंगा आपकी इजाजत से सर.
या
अगर आपका किसी कुछ प्रश्न है आप पूछ सकते. So the first question is, Uniform Civil Code will affect the basic features of secularism of the Indian Constitution. Sir.
My dear friend, this will not affect the secularism, this will strengthen the secularism. You see, today we are living in small ghettos, small groups. हमने अपने आप को बंद कर लिया है अपने एक कमरे में और वहां बैठ करके दुनिया को सोच रहे हैं. मैं आपका पड़ोसी हूँ, बाहर खड़ा हूँ, आप बाहर आइए, घर से निकल करके बात कीजिए, मुझसे बात कीजिए, अपना दुख मुझे सुनाइए, मेरा आप सुनिए, और हम दोनों बैठ करके रास्ता निकालें कि क्या हो. वो सेक्युलरिज्म और फ्रेटर्निटी, हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के तो शुरू में प्रेम्बल में लिखा है फ्रेटर्निटी. तो ये दोनों तभी बढ़ेंगी जब हम ये निकल के आएंगे. अगर बंद होकर के बैठ जाएंगे तो दोनों में से किसी का भी विस्तार होने वाला नहीं.
Any more question? How can a uniform civil code strike a balance between respecting culture and religious diversity while ensuring gender justice and equality. Sir,
See, when we take certain basic things, then this will provide for all this will take care of all the things. If I am, they say that sunshine is the best disinfectant. मेरा पड़ोसी मुझे देख रहा है, मेरे समाज का दूसरा व्यक्ति मुझे देख रहा है, मेरे व्यवहार के ऊपर नजर रखी जा रही है, चर्चा होगी, तो मैं अपने आप वो चीजें मुझे डिसिप्लिन करेंगे. वही हम चाहिए. ये जो अलग अलग बैठ करके पता नहीं कहाँ से कब से शुरू हुई, वो भी एक हिस्टोरिकल बात है, वो हमको कहीं ले जाने वाली नहीं है. इतने दिन देख लिया, आजादी के 75 साल बाद भी देख लिया, और उससे पहले का भी देख लिया, उसने हमको अभी तक कहीं पहुंचाया नहीं है. Let us have a break from our past. Let us be free from our mindset, and with an open heart, let me embrace my neighbor. Let me come out. एक दूसरे का वो सुख दुख बांटे, तब वो सब चलेगा.
any more question? What about Article 25 if 44 implemented? Sir,
No, 25, as far as I don't find any justification for Article 25 being there. As far as the question of implementing Article 44 is concerned, Article 25 is no impediment in any manner whatsoever. Because Article 44 only talks, it rather lends support to the aspiration of fraternity in our preamble of our constitution. And then you may propagate your religion, so 25 does not come in our way. The only thing is when we confuse religion with our day-to-day life, because there are two different things. You will excuse me for this thing, that practicing religion is one thing. Living a common life is something altogether different. So, and in any case, Article 25 also does not prohibit any religious thing. Rather, it says, it merely records what is always understood in this country, that you have a right to practice your religion. Please do. Equally, you see, can you suppose, I mean, you will please forgive me for this thing. My neighbor belongs to another caste. He starts beating his wife. Should the Article 25 come in between, or should my humanity and friendship come in, arouse me to go and talk to them and try them to make make them to go by reason and have a proper, healthy life and avoid bickerings. Article 25 is only that, it's nothing beyond that. What I commented about Article 25 and Hindus is a slightly different issue, but apart from that, Article 25 does not hinder anything, and not the least the provisions of Article 44. The only thing is that there has to be a political will. Our forefathers did not show that political will in 1948 when they enacted Article 44. They could have passed the common universal civil code at that time, and today this problem would not have been there. Thereafter, in 1998, the government was to be made or unmade only because of this thing. Thereafter, we present group in power talked of so many things but did not do anything. So let us please come out of this चर्चा, वो जो पनवाड़ी के दुकान के बाहर चर्चा और वो मंदिर के बाहर बैठी हमारी बूढ़ी दादी माँ और वो चर्चा करते हैं, उस चर्चा से बाहर निकलें और समाज के लिए कुछ सोचें।
How will the Uniform Civil Code impact women's rights, especially in communities where personal laws have historically been discriminatory towards women? Sir.
मैंने पहले ही कहा कि हम एक तरह की एक मोरल कोड एक वो बनाने वाले मेरे सुझाव है। जब वो ऐसा होगा तो उनकी आवश्यकताओं की और उनके देखभाल हो जाएगी। उनकी परेशानियां अगर आज कोई हैं तो कम होंगी, खत्म होने में शायद टाइम लगे। और फिर सवाल ये है कि एक बार जब ये बात आएगी तो हम ये क्यों सोचते हैं कि सारी बात का सुधार का ठेका हम हिंदुओं ने ही ले रखा। मुसलमान मुसलमान में सुधार नहीं करेगा, पारसी पारसी में सुधार नहीं करेगा, वो सब करेंगे। आखिर उनके भी फैमिली है, उनके भी भावनाएं फीलिंग्स वही हैं जो हर आदमी की हैं। हाँ, ये जरूर है कि आज हम एक दूसरे के तरफ देखते हुए जरा ये समझते हैं ये गैर है, वो गैर वाली भावना निकाल दें तो शायद दुनिया और अच्छी हो जाए।
Thank you, sir. The Law Minister of India said that the states can enact laws on Uniform Civil Code too. So, what the point of code? The government of the state can use this as a vote bank politics, sir.
My, I mean, please, you will excuse me for the strong comment. I find something wrong with the thinking of people who talk like this. Kindly just go through the language used in Article 44. It says universal civil code for India. How a state is going to legislate for the whole of India? It's only the central government which can do it. एंड टू से के साहब वो जो है मैंने कुत्ता पाला है, मैं जरा देखना चाहता हूँ काटता है कि नहीं काटता, आप जरा आइए। मैंने एक स्टेट में हम कानून बना के देखेंगे कि ये कैसा चलता है, फिर उसको सेंटर उसमें लेकर आएंगे। वो कुत्ते और के वाली कहानी है, उससे आगे निकलने की मानसिकता, माफ कीजिए, ऐसे लोगों के दिमाग में मुझे नहीं दिखाई देती।
Next question, please. If criminal law is equal for every religion, then why civil law is according to the religion? There should be equal laws for every citizens of India, sir.
That's what our forefathers mandated on 26th of November 1948 by putting Article 44. Only thing is we have made it a dead letter all these years, and we should now at least put it in practice.
Yes. Next question, please. If UCC will be implemented in future, then what's about the value of Article 25 religious right of the fundamental rights that are given in our constitution?
Take it from me, there is no conflict. And if you feel any conflict or somebody discriminates with you, I am there, I'll defend you. I have defended so many like Sunil Batra and so many others. I'll do this also for the gentleman who has put this.
Next question, please. I have a question, sir. What step will be taken to educate the public about the benefit and implementation of Uniform Civil Code to dispel the misunderstanding in the public, sir?
Is the responsibility of the community leaders, since they are failing in it, it becomes a responsibility of you and me, the educated people of this country. and every new thing starts with a little opposition. Like the fashion changes, and ultimately things come. It's something like that.
Okay, sir. Any more question?
माफ कीजिए, आपकी बेगम को जैसा दुपट्टा, जैसा वो शरारा लगेगा, वो कल को मेरी बेगम भी वैसा मांगने वाली है, ये मान के चलिए ना.
What step will be taken to educate? Sir has already given the answer of this question. Okay, so any other question? नो क्वेश्चन. ओके, अगर आप सभी के पास कोई भी प्रश्न है, आप मुझे भेज सकते हैं, मैं सर को भेजूंगा, और मैं आश्वासन दिलाता हूं सर आपको जरूर हर एक प्रश्न का जवाब देंगे. आज
Yes,
रणधीर सर, यस सर, थैंक यू सर. आज रणधीर सर इस कॉल में जुड़े, इसके लिए मैं उनको बहुत बहुत साधुवाद देता हूं. उन्होंने बहुत ही साफ साफ तरीके से हर प्रश्न का सहजता पूर्वक उत्तर भी दिया और यूसीसी यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड को बहुत ही अच्छे तरह से हमको समझाया. साथ ही साथ मैं लीगल रूटलिफ्ट टीम के फाउंडर, को फाउंडर और खास करके ओमिता उनक्कर मैम को बहुत बहुत साधुवाद देता हूं. उनके बिना ये कॉल नहीं हो सकता था. इसी के साथ आज हम इस कॉल को यहीं अंत करते हैं, और ये याद रखिएगा इस कॉल का दूसरा सेशन, जिसमें सर ड्राफ्टिंग बिल सबसे पहली बार हमें देने वाले हैं और उसके ऊपर हम चर्चा करने वाले हैं. इसीलिए नेक्स्ट सेशन जुड़ना बहुत जरूरी है, बहुत आवश्यक है. सर बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.
धन्यवाद, नमस्कार. मेरी शुभकामनाएं सबके लिए, और किसी को अगर मेरी कोई बात नागवार लगी हो, उसके लिए क्षमा याचना सहित.
थैंक यू सर.